Gosh, that's a lot of stuff. All right, let's talk a little bit about supplements. In the past, I have definitely not been the type of person who would take as many supplements as this. I've been pretty minimalist about it. I mean, I've taken multivitamins and I've had protein powders and stuff like that, but for the most part, one or two things has been pretty much the extent. But ever since I started working with my coach, I've been taking a lot more stuff. So I want to take you guys through all the supplements that I take on a daily basis, what each one of them does, and kind of how I go about making a routine of everything. Quick little disclaimer before we get started here. This is not a product or brand buying guide, nor is this a comprehensive list of the things that you should take. I am not recommending anyone take the supplements that I'm taking. All I'm doing is letting you guys know what I'm taking right now as prescribed by my coach to get ready for this bodybuilding competition. I'm not saying any of this is healthy, nor am I even saying that any of this is right for me. I'm just saying this is what my coach is having me do, so I'm doing it to get ready for my bodybuilding competition. If you want your own supplement advice, you can come to your own conclusions by talking to your physician, doing your own research online, among other things. So just keep that in mind. I'm not a supplement expert or a nutritionist. I am just an amateur bodybuilder. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the daily vitamins that I take. Starting off first thing in the morning. When I wake up, I take some pills. Not the bad kind of pills, the kind of pills that help you get stronger and faster. First one is fish oil. Pretty much just a way to supplement omega-3 fatty acids that I may not be getting from my actual diet. Next is vitamin C. Super important for collagen formation, healthy skin, hair, that kind of stuff. But it also provides immune support. Helps me from getting sick. Next, NAC. This is one that I hadn't heard of before starting working with my coach, but from what I've gathered, it can help with circulation and blood flow. Again, I'm not an expert on any of these things, so don't take my word for it just because I'm doing it. I'm just following the advice given to me by my coach. So if you're taking supplements, do your research first. Next is vitamin D3, which supports strong bones and immune health. It says it right there. And finally, for my vitamins right in the morning, I take turmeric. Now this one in particular is a turmeric complex, has black pepper in there as well, but the turmeric is essentially just an antioxidant support. Okay, so those are essentially all the pills that I have in my daily regimen right when I wake up in the morning. And I'm not going to tell you the exact doses of each one just because I don't want anyone copying the doses that I'm taking. Everything is going to be super individualized, and I highly recommend getting your blood work done so that you know exactly what vitamins you need to be supplementing at any given time. Things like this depend on your diet, your genetics, and just other individual needs, so I can't just haphazardly tell you what to take. One other pill that I may take depending on the day is melatonin, and I use this for sleep support. Most of the time I take this when I've had caffeine a little bit later in the day than usual. If it's roughly 30 minutes before I'm supposed to be in bed, which right now is about 9 o'clock, and I don't feel tired at all, I will take about a half pill of this. Half of 10 milligrams, so 5 milligrams of melatonin. Just helps me get to sleep and helps me maintain that sleep throughout the night so that I don't wake up feeling like absolute crap. Sleep is super important for anyone, regardless if you're a bodybuilder or an athlete or not. You need to get good sleep so that you can recover from the previous day. So sometimes a little bit of melatonin goes a long way. Speaking of caffeine, on days like today where I'm waking up super early in the morning, I will drink about a cup of coffee. I usually don't go above 1 caffeinated beverage per day, except on leg days when I take about a half scoop of pre-workout before my workout. I don't like pre-workouts. I don't like feeling like I need to take something pre-training in order to get a good workout in. The coffee definitely helps when I have a long day of work ahead of me. I can kind of sip on the coffee throughout the day and it just kind of maintains a decent amount of energy so that I can get my work done. But pre-workout, I'm only taking on leg days right now because those are the heaviest sessions that I have. Not pushing as much weight on back day or chest day, but leg day I am definitely trying to push a ton of weight. Brand of pre-workout doesn't really matter. I just picked this up from GNC because it was the first one I saw. Really just looking for a decent amount of caffeine, and this is about 200 milligrams. So I'll take a half scoop of that before my leg workout, and that will probably change as this prep goes along. Right now we're about 9 weeks out, so a half scoop does the trick. But with that being said, I anticipate I'm gonna have to add a little bit more to my routine as this prep drags along. Maybe about 6-7 weeks out, I'll add another half scoop to my leg days and then a half scoop to my other training days. But we will see how much energy I end up needing. So caffeine definitely helps the intensity of your workouts and with those long work days. Up next, it's not really a supplement, more of a seasoning, but I'm counting it here just because of the impact that it's made on my days throughout this prep and just my bodybuilding journey in general. Himalayan pink salt. This is something that a lot of bodybuilders use. It's something that I've seen on Muscle and Strength channel a lot with their full day of eating videos. And I've always wondered, like, why pink salt? Like, what's the big deal about it? Now, I've been adding about a 1/4 teaspoon of this to all of my whole food meals, so everything's solid. I don't add this to my shakes. And what it's supposed to do is increase the rate of hydration to your cells. You need sodium in order for your muscles to contract. And since there is not a lot of sodium in the diet as clean as it is, supplementing it is a must. One of the things that I've noticed from supplementing pink salt, as well as the hydration changes that I've made, is my vascularity is much improved. You can't really tell right now just because I haven't really been doing anything, but I'll find when I'm just out walking around, my veins are popping in my arms. If I put a little bit of this on my pre-workout meal and I start drinking my water, the pumps are insane. I never used to be a super vascular guy, like even when I am in the gym lifting, but I noticed a huge difference almost immediately after supplementing with the salt. Like literally days after I started this whole diet. So Himalayan pink salt, awesome for bodybuilding. Next, speaking of workouts, glutamine and EAAs, essential amino acids. Both of these I have a scoop of in my intra-workout shake, what I drink during my workout. And before we got into this prep, when I was still trying to build muscle, I was also supplementing in my intra-workout shake some carbohydrate powder. This was just a way to make sure that I'm getting that fuel during my workout instead of having to replenish afterwards. Because as you know, your glycogen stores in the muscle deplete as you work out heavy. So you have to replenish them after or during. Right now, I'm not taking the carb powder just because my calories are lower because of the prep. So these two are what I'm taking intra-workout. Now the science is a little bit mixed on the supplementation of both of these amino acids, but for me, even if they don't do anything at all, they help with a placebo effect during my workout. When I drink these, I feel like I'm getting an energy boost, so even if they make like a 0.000000001% difference in my actual recovery or my ability to lift heavy, that's okay with me. I wouldn't recommend supplementing EAAs for just anyone just because they can get quite expensive. But in my case, my coach has me taking them, so I'm gonna do what he says. He's the IFBB pro here, not me. So those are intra-workout. Post-workout, I take creatine. Now creatine is a highly understood and researched supplement. I think that a very high number of people should be supplementing with creatine. It helps with both size and strength, and there are no readily apparent side effects that are negative. You do have to keep your hydration in mind when you're taking this though, because it can increase water retention and affect other things like that. Finally, for the main ones, we have protein powder. I use a whey isolate, which I recommend most people do. When eating the amount of protein that's required to build and maintain muscle, sometimes it's difficult to get enough solid food in. Eating chicken and beef is not always easy, especially when you cook like me. So right now I have 2 meals a day that include whey protein powder. One of them is in my oatmeal, and the other one is a shake at the end of my day. Protein powder, not as good as real food, but it helps. All right, finally, we're on to hydration. Currently, I'm drinking about 5 to 6 liters of water a day. About 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water per day. This hydro jug is a 1/2 gallon, so I'll fill it up 3 times throughout the day, and I'll just make sure that I'm sipping on it throughout the day to get that hydration in. This is definitely more water than I've ever ingested before. More water than I would recommend for most people. I was definitely not drinking enough water at first when I went into this whole thing. I was drinking probably 1/2 gallon a day. I need a little bit closer to a full gallon. If you're 240 pounds and active, you probably need way more than that. But if you're 140 pounds and you don't really do that much, you don't sweat a whole lot throughout the day, then you definitely don't need a full gallon of water. So I think it's a little bit foolish to say that everybody needs a gallon of water a day. That's just kind of, it's always seemed kind of silly to me. It's like saying that everyone needs 2,000 calories a day. That just fits everybody. Definitely not true. When I first started all the hydration stuff, I found that I had to pee like every 5 minutes. It was awful. But as I went along with this whole program, I've had to pee less and less, even as my water intake rises. So that equates to me as I'm retaining a little bit more water, my cells are getting used to it, I definitely look fuller in terms of muscle size, and I've even started to feel better, as water is pretty much the most important thing to our bodies besides oxygen. Previously, I had been just filling up this gallon of water, kind of gross because this has been expired for a long time. But I switched to the hydro jug just because it was a little bit easier. It kind of helps with the tracking, especially when I have to take about 1.5 gallons. If I was drinking 2 gallons, something like this would be a little bit easier. I just like something like this because it's a really easy way for me to just track how much I've had throughout the day, so I know how much more I need to drink. If all I had to go by was like water bottles and I had to count, it's like, okay, I've had like 6 of these. I just don't want to do that. So this is the best option for me. That is it when it comes to supplements. I know that is a vast amount, and I definitely wouldn't recommend that much stuff for most people. A lot of this bodybuilding stuff for me is experimental. I don't exactly know how it works, why it works, or if it works at all. I'm just taking the advice that I've been given from my time in school, all of the coaches I've had, and my various other mentors, using it for myself and seeing what happens. Again, I'm not recommending any of that stuff to you guys specifically. Maybe I'll make another video in the future about supplement guidelines, or maybe even what supplements to buy, which things are the best. But right now, just wanted to show you guys what I'm taking currently, not necessarily what you should take. Thanks everyone for watching this week's video. The road to Muncie is in full swing. That show is gonna creep up on us real quick, so I wanna thank all of you who are following me in this journey. I hope you're getting some good information out of these videos, and if you have any ideas for future videos, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.